Okay, guys, good morning. Good morning. Let's get back to it. Today, this is our asynchronous session. Reason being is because I have so many meetings that I have to attend this morning, and that will not allow me to be present for class, right? So let's stay productive and continue working to move forward, right? On your Google Classroom, I'm not sure if you all noticed, but I updated the student portfolio and added a new unit. That unit, I believe it is with regards to plan to undertake a routine task. And I would like to get into it to explain it, to teach it a little bit so you all have an idea of what it is, a very good understanding of what it is before you all attempt answering the activities in the unit. All right, so let's get to that. Let me share my screen. All right, and let's go to our Google Classroom, right? So this here is our Google Classroom with the student portfolio. And when you click on that, this window will open, right? When you're at the top of the document, by the table of contents, you see third unit here. You just click that, hyperlink will come up. You click that too, and it'll take you directly to that third unit that we have to do, right? So as I said, it's the plan to undertake a routine task. And many of you all might not understand what it is, but let me explain. Let me explain and teach you all just a little background into what it really entails, right? But you can sort of think about it and kind of predict what it's about because of the name itself. You plan to undertake a task, right? You're planning a task, right? And I believe I touched on it earlier on this term. It was like an example, right? But let's get into detail this morning. All right. So this is the section where I have my lesson plan for you guys, where I plan how I'm going to teach this. And the three key objectives are to identify the tasks required, to plan steps required to complete the task, and to review it, right? But in these three, there's going to have three sections, three important sections in every plan that I think is essential. And going back to the same portfolio, when you scroll down, you'll notice section 1, section 2, and section 3. Specifically, section 1 is safety, section 2 is tools, and section 3 is materials, right? And then after that, you're going to identify your process or your method of how you're going to approach it. So that should be a fourth section, and that should be a longer section. I think that should be a longer section. All right, so let's do some editing here. You hit enter, enter again, Control V. You're going to change this to section 4, and then you're going to say method. I think procedure should be the better word. And in brackets, let's just say method, so that everybody will be on the same page, right? Enter, enter. And the method, as I said, will be the longest part. No, that will be undo. Control copy. And underneath there, 1, 2, 3. Right? So it shouldn't be more than that. Copy. Let's paste that. Let's enter that down. So go to the next page. Right after that, enter, enter, Control V. So it goes to the next page. And let's continue. One more. Right. So that will be your fourth section, which is the procedure. Right. So let's get back to the lesson plan. Right. To identify the tasks required. Right. And what I want to do is literally take one as an example one of the assignments as an example. I wouldn't actually do it, but I'll go through it for you guys, right? So your first assignment is stated such that um, you have two parts to this, right? Part A and part B. Develop a written plan to undertake a written task, right? Case study. This is what it is. This is the situation. You are hired to install 3 lights along a corridor in a newly built domestic house, right? So you have to install 3 lights along a corridor. These lights are to be connected parallel to each other, right? And you have to develop a plan that has 3 sections, rather 4 sections, right? They will include a list of safety materials that you need to use or safety equipment, right? And that why I say that equipment is because remember you have personal protective equipment, right? And then you have your tools like your screwdriver, your saw, your drill, whatever is will be required for the job, and the materials used to perform the task, right? So your materials would be your light, your switch, your sockets and whatnot. Let me just put a comma here. And the procedure, right? The procedure, as I said before, is a method like what you'll do first, second, third, fourth, fifth, all the way down to your last, right? So this is the requirements for the job, right? So to identify the task requirements, you're required to install 3 lights along a corridor, and they're supposed to be installed in a parallel manner, right? Install 3 lights along a corridor and to be installed in a parallel manner. That's the requirement, right? So every job you have a requirement to fulfill, and this is the one that you have to fulfill now, right? After that, it's that straightforward, right? Now you have to plan the steps required. But before that, you're going to say, wait a minute. If I have to install 3 lights along a corridor, what kind of current I'm going to be dealing with? Now we know to install lights, you have to run some cables from the panel box, and that's 115 volts, you know, and 60 amps in hertz, right? So we know that's dangerous level of electricity. So you want to suit up a little bit. You want to wear a coverall, you want to wear your boots, your safety boots, you want to wear gloves, because remember, you're going to be in that box. Your hand's going to be in that panel box as you supply. So you don't want to touch the bus bar by accident and get 150 volts by 60 amps region through your body. That's very dangerous. So you want to have on gloves, your rubber gloves, your safety gloves, right? So you must have these pieces of equipment. Give or take, you might want to have on goggles, you know, to protect your eyes, but that the first 3 that are listed, your shoes, your coverall, and your hands, those are the most important safe personal protective equipment you're going to use, right? And that's what you're going to put inside of here, the first section for safety. So to do this job, I believe I would need my safety boots, as well as my coverall and my gloves. Just give me a second there, guys. All right, so thank you guys for giving me that 2-3 minutes there. Sorry about that, but let's continue on. All right, so that is what you're going to put in the first section here, your safety equipment that you're going to be using. And I want you to make a statement and list, right? So you say, these are the materials or the personal protective equipment I will be needing for my safety, colon, point, 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 and you're going to list out your pieces of safe personal protective equipment. Right. Section 2, simple, tools. What do you think you're going to be using to construct this circuit? Right, this parallel circuit of 3 lights running along a corridor in the newly built domestic house. What do you think you're going to use? I think you're going to definitely need a Phillip head, screwdriver, right? You're going to need some screws. You're going to need what else you need? Basically that, right? But if you do more research and you get into it, you might need some measuring device, probably a multimeter, to make sure you test the continuity, to make sure all your connections are in order, whatever you have, right? Anything else, probably you'll get more research, you know, do your research to make sure that you have all the tools that you would need, right? Probably you might need a hammer, you don't know, because you had to run the cable on the wall, and you need to put some tacks, some wall tacks, you know, to fixate it on the wall. You know, you may need measuring tape to measure the cable that you need, you know, the distance that you're going to run the cables. So you have a lot of things to consider. So just do your research to make sure that you cover all your bases with regards to the tools that you may need to use, all right? And the third thing that here, the section here is the materials. So the materials, as I would always describe, to the Form 1 straight up to the Form 3s, you know, when they're doing technical education, they don't know the difference between tools and materials. Say, for instance, you have some craft to do with paper. The paper is the material, and your tool would be the scissors to cut it into some sort of shape. And why I say that is because the paper is the thing that is being changed, right? And the thing that you're using to change the shape of the paper is the scissors. So anything you use to change or alter some sort of material, that is a tool. And the thing that is being changed or altered, or the object that is being changed or altered, is the material, right? So the materials that you'll be using here is your bulb, your light switch, your cable, of course, your wall tacks or your trunking that you're going to put on the wall, or you probably want to use PVC conduits. It's all up to you. However style you choose to build your circuit, that's all up to you, right? And that determines your materials, right? And you're going to put your statements here in your tool section. You're going to make a statement here, and you're going to list them, right? You can list them going down in one column, down going into a second column or a third column, or you can list it out like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 along the lines going across that horizontally. All right. And the last thing you want to look at is the section number 4. This section deals with you actually putting the thing together in a nutshell as a method or the procedure. So you're going to say step 1, I'm going to collect a breaker, because remember, to run new lights you have to install a new breaker, or you want to tap off an old one that's already existing in the panel box. But I don't recommend that. You should always get a new breaker for a new circuit, right? Because you don't want to draw too much current out of one breaker that's already installed with devices and circuits attached to it. because you might pull too much current through that breaker and trip it. And eventually you're going to damage it because of that amount of current flowing through it. It will burn out eventually and it will become bad. So I recommend that you always install a new breaker for a new circuit, right? So you're going to get, first you're going to buy up your materials. You're going to state how you're going to build the circuit from the start to the finish. So step 1, install breaker. Step 2, run cables. Step 3, fixate the lights along the corridor in the positions that you wanted. Step 4 could possibly be making the connections between the cables, the switch, and the lights. And then step 5 could be testing, right? And then this last step could be commissioning, saying that it is safe to use the circuit, it is safe to use it to operate it, right? And you have to give some details in the circuitry because you want to say that probably that circuit is operated with one light switch, and that is parallel throughout the entire thing. So that's the example that I want to give you guys as a teaching lesson, right? So now that you all have that example in the first case study, you all can attempt it for not only this one, but for number 2 and number 3, right? In the other parts of the, I think I already included it. Right, yeah. So you have 4 sections in each routine or plan to undertake a routine task, right? So you all have your work cut out for you guys. I would like you all to finish this before the end of the day or by the weekend and make your submissions. As I say submissions, let me get onto this Google Classroom here and make some checkups on the turning section, turning 15. Looking good so far, looking good so far. And let me see how far everyone has reached. I remember, Kevin, you have to upload from your cover page all the way down to where you reach, right? So it's not just starting from communication, plus you have to continue on, right? So you have some work to do, right? Let's check up on Micah. Right, so you see how Micah has his cover page, his table of contents, and then scroll down to the rest of the assignment. Yeah, but Micah, where are your activities? You give me a blank document, you're setting up. You're setting up yourself when ready. Let's check on Nathaniel. Right, Nathaniel, what's he wanting with that the demonstration the other day? He should have some things nice. Right. Right, but come on guys. Right. Okay. Yeah, but you'll have your work cut out for you guys. You're supposed to be far ahead by now. You're supposed to finish that section with the safety, right? Let's look at the answers. Right, cover page, table of contents. That will be updated soon enough. And you have these, right? Very good. Very good. 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 Everything updated so far. Remember, Leandre, I have to put your name and stuff here, right? I'll just accept it for now. Restrict, let's say, procedures, students. Right. Very good. Right. Very good so far. Right. So now it's just to do the other unit that I updated on the student portfolio, and you all will be up to date, right? But I will tell you all to move with some level of urgency because remember, next week is the midterm, is the date for midterm. So you all need to get your work handed in, like Micah, Nathaniel, and Kevin, and students like them as such. Please move with some level of urgency because Next week, I'm going to start marking, and that will be your midterm. So don't miss out. Don't hand in late, and don't neglect to forward your work or hand in your work properly, right? And it will be up to the unit of, undertaking a routine task, I'll be marking. So that will include CM portfolio and scrolling up to table of contents. That will include the unit on workplace communication, principles of health and safety, and this plan to undertake a routine task. So these are the 3 units I'll be using to mark for your midterm, right? And by end of term, we should finish at least 6, the first 6, before we could attempt doing your first practical, which will basically be this first plan to undertake a routine task, right? The parallel circuit. Right, so that'll be it for today, guys. Please take note, and at the end of this video, I want you to go back to your Google Classroom, right? Let's go back to Google Classroom. Right, I will post this video right underneath here, right underneath here. So I need you all to drop a comment for me, just like how you all drop a comment here. I need you to drop a comment for this tutorial video, and that comment will be present, so I'll be able to mark you guys present or take note of who was there, and who did their work. All right, so enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Stay productive. Don't be lackadaisical. Remember, next week is midterm. Goodbye.